Welcome back to another exciting episode of Cyber Defense TV. I'm your host, Gary Malewski, and the publisher of Cyber Defense Magazine. I have a very special guest sitting in the hot seat today. Tim Callan is with Sectigo. And you may or may not have heard of Sectigo, but you will know a lot about it because it's one of the oldest, longest living cybersecurity companies doing something that's very exciting to me. And Tim, as a senior fellow of Sectigo, is going to tell us what it is. It's in an area and a field that I love, that you need to practice: strong encryption. Welcome.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for having me here.
So tell us, what's the genesis? You guys used to be another company?
So Sectigo is not a name that's known nearly as well as the old name the company used to have, which is Comodo. So Comodo was one of the earliest purveyors of certificates, public certificates, SSL, things along those lines. Been in that business for nearly 20 years.
I remember there was like Thought out of South Africa.
Yes.
And there was Comodo.
And there was VeriSign, of course.
Yeah, and VeriSign.
Yeah.
So you guys were
we're very early.
You're in the beginning.
We were one of the earliest.
E-commerce couldn't work without your company.
So Comodo today is the most used public CA on the planet. So we issue more certificates than anybody else does. Our certificates are the underpinnings of all kinds of digital operations. Without them, your phone wouldn't work, your computer wouldn't work, your online banking wouldn't work. Everything that you're used to using basically wouldn't work if it's digital.
HTTPS at cyberdefensemagazine.com might not work.
Would not work, exactly. So
great stuff.
Digital certificates are very foundational, and without them, fundamentally, our digital systems couldn't run because they wouldn't be able to identify each other, and it would leave far too many opportunities for man-in-the-middle attacks and other kind of spoofing attacks to creep into the ecosystem and steal information and give wrong commands and otherwise cause trouble.
So you and I pretty much believe that crypto is critical to cybersecurity.
Yes.
Name a recent breach and tell me what they did wrong.
Okay, well, we probably all heard about the O2 outage, right? Mm-hmm. So O2 and SoftBank and a number of other mobile carriers around the world all had this massive outage that lasted upward of 2 days. There were tens of millions of people affected. I'm not sure anyone's sure of the exact number, but certainly more than 30 million people worldwide were without their data. And ultimately, it goes back to they had a back-end provider, which was Ericsson. Mm-hmm. And Ericsson had an unexpected certificate outage. And it took down mobile service around the world for tens of millions of people.
Does this happen often? And what would you have done to stop it?
Well, so this happens not usually at that scale, but it happens at a much smaller scale all the time. Certificates are hard because they expire. They have to expire. If they don't expire, they're not secure. And that means that these things have to be tracked and managed. And so the real solution is automation. So companies, enterprises can put automation in place. They can either write their own or they can purchase third-party products that will do it for them, that will track their certificates, it'll know when they're going to expire, and it will warn them and it will automatically replace them. So what it does is it prevents you from having that kind of problem in the future. Do
you have a nice cloud-based dashboard if I've got 100 or 1,000 certs I have to manage?
Absolutely. It's one of the things you want. If you have an automation platform, you want a dashboard so you can see what you have. You want reporting and things along those lines. Also, though, a real important one is discovery. So think about this. You've got a bunch of engineers somewhere. They're working on a project. It's skunksworksy. They go out. They buy their own certs. They get it up and running, and all of a sudden it takes off, and it's big, and it's huge, and it's central to your success. Those engineers move on to another project. Nobody knows about those certificates.
We're talking shadow IT certs?
Right. Yes, absolutely. Shadow IT certs. Until one day it blows up and dies, right? And that's how you find out is, hey, X, Y, and Z system isn't working anymore. Nobody knows why. Let's all scramble around with our hair on fire trying to figure out what's going on. And eventually someone works out that there's an expired cert they didn't even know existed. Mm-hmm. So another thing is you can get a certificates discovery service that will crawl through your network and will find them.
You're the Nmap of finding certs?
Right, exactly.
This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Does it cost money?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And how does it scale?
Scalability is as big as any enterprise is going to be. Scalability is not that hard. You do a one-time crawl, you know where they are, you're managing them in a database. All of this stuff is well within the bounds of very well understood principles. So it's easy to do.
Easy to do. Very cool. Now, we talked about one breach. How about another recent breach?
So in December, the Congressional Oversight Committee put out its report about the Equifax breach. We all remember the Equifax breach, right? 45% of Americans had their data lost in that breach. I am one of them. So the Equifax breach happened, and all of this information was stolen, and it made all kinds of headlines, but nobody really knew what the root cause was. So Congress went away, they did a research project, they came back and they said it was an expired certificate.
Wow.
So there was...
So two of the biggest breaches recently.
Yeah, there was basically a security system, a data monitoring system that had an expired cert, and when the cert expired, it just stopped functioning. That's how it was written. So, but because it stopped functioning, monitoring of data extraction stopped happening. And so as a consequence, and that cert sat expired for 19 months. And over the course of 70 days, the last 70 days of its expiration period was when the bad guys had gotten in with their malware. And over the course of 70 days, they harvested on something on the order of 250 separate occasions. They went data queries and extracted data for 148 million Americans.
148 million.
Yes.
Pretty much almost half the population.
Just about half the population.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So Sectigo is designing like the best. You've been around forever, PKI.
Right.
And so can I use your PKI solution to encrypt my email and have a safer private comms with other businesses I work with?
So you can encrypt email, you can protect code for distribution, you can get a private PKI that you use inside your enterprise to secure your devices and your communications.
So I can do intranet crypto. That means inside my building, someone hacked in and they popped in a laptop, they wouldn't know what's going on because our comms are all encrypted.
You can encrypt your DevOps project, your containers, your virtualized machines, your private cloud. All of these things can use PKI to encrypt their communications.
How hard is it to deploy?
It's not that hard. There's a console that's available, so you get the console, you run through there and manage it all with a single pane of glass. Just log in, provide your credentials. You got MFA, 2FA.
Are you doing direct? Are you doing channel? How are you getting this out to people?
So we do both. We're happy to do business with you directly, but we also have a lot of great channel partners, and we're overjoyed to work with a channel partner. So if you have a provider that you're used to working with, you can probably just work with them.
And under your old name, I mean, there's some channel partners that have been with you guys forever because they love you. There's loyalty.
So the company has about 15,000 channel partners. So chances are good that for your geography and your industry vertical, there's somebody who can help you.
That's fantastic. Well, what would you recommend our viewers do today and our listeners? You want them to go to the website? Is there a white paper, data sheet? What do you want to share?
I would suggest there's a great wealth of information at sectigo.com. That's sectigo.com. Sectigo.com, and please go there. There's a lot to read.
It's a great hot seat interview, and I appreciate it.
Thanks,
and as I told you before, crypto is critical. You need to use it more often. We've got a great player in the market who's been doing it forever. It's kind of a new name brand, but the same company, same great technology, and so well needed. Check out his website, learn more about it, deploy their technology everywhere you can, because strong crypto is the way to go. No backdoors. And then stay tuned again next time for another exciting episode of Cyber Defense TV. Thank you.